Welcome to News for Flori. Today we're going to be talking about a very important subject. We'll be talking about energy production and how it affects population security. To treat this subject, we'll have myself in the environmental area. We'll be broadcasting a technology expert, a foreign trade policy expert, and also an ethics and human rights expert. Nowadays, fossil fuels represents 49% of the energy produced in Mexico. There's been a growing concern about the demand that this energy represents because the processes that we have to make to produce this energy create pollution and create a big amount of carbon dioxide, which is an element responsible for global warming. Since the resources that are necessary have to be mined, it also causes more pollution and it leaves other resources in the surface which alter our ecosystem. In the state of Veracruz, there is a nuclear plant called Laguna Verde nuclear plant. This plant is based on technology of nuclear fission and uranium atoms. This nuclear plant produces around 4.5% of the country's energy. Laguna Verde has been considered a strategic facility for the national power system because of the high power generation it has and it has low costs of operation. Given this data, we can surely recommend nuclear energy as the most viable way to generate energy in our country. And also, it produces less pollution, which is surely recommended for population security. Okay, so now we'll be broadcasting directly with our technology expert, Emiliano, so he can talk about this subject.
Thanks. I'm Emiliano, I'm the energy consultant expert, and my role is to talk about if this is a viable project for Mexico. And Mexico has already been researching about these energy options. It has worked on wind, water, and also nuclear energy providers. The people is growing in Mexico, so it's an important issue for the Mexican government to take care of. So I did and I have a map here where it shows all the types of energy. Like this one is the wind energy, water energy, and these yellows are the nuclear energy. So if we can work on a nuclear plant over here, we can distribute the energy over all the United States and all the north of the Mexican Republic. So it could be a very good business, and Mexico has already the knowledge and the equipment for doing a nuclear energy installation. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your information, Emiliano. We're back at the studio. Right now we're going to hear from Jose, the foreign trade policy expert. You're live, Jose.
Hello, Jose Luis Barragan here. I'd like to first off thank the newsroom for having me here to speak about nuclear energy as their foreign trade expert. And this energy is, one that has been on controversy for decades because it's thought to be a dangerous but sustainable energy, and it constantly holds a threat to our population and our communities and environments. So it's very important for people that the appropriate measures, security measures and protocols are properly implemented. Fortunately, if there were to be a new nuclear plant here in Mexico, there are a lot of countries that have had a lot of experience in nuclear energy, like the UK, Sweden, or Japan. So we could adopt all their security measures, or even the US, for example. Some security measures that the US has would be like having a sizable armed group patrolling the nuclear plant's grounds, and having all the shutdown protocols, emergency protocols, having them kept secret, because that's the way that nobody knows what's the plant's weaknesses are. And looking at the data here, we can see that even Fukushima, the plant that most recently we've had in our world that has a disaster, they've sorry, I believe I lost my video feed. But as I was saying, Fukushima introduced 5 new guidelines that were a product of their nuclear disaster, and basically it's a guideline to not make their mistakes, to learn from their mistakes. So on the terms of security measures and protocols, I think the Mexican plant would be basically covered. There's lots of material where to find and adopt from. And in terms of importing the products that would be needed to construct this Mexican plant, fortunately our country has a lot of trade agreements, so I think it would be relatively easy to import all the materials such as water coolants or copper. Construction-wise, technically speaking, maybe we could outsource the construction to companies, big nuclear specialized companies such as that exist in the U.S. and France. So yes, I believe that there is a great feasibility here in terms of a new nuclear plant here in Mexico.
We had some issues with the signal, but thank you, Jose, for your information. We're going to be moving on to the ethics and human rights expert, Antonio, so he can give you his information about this subject.
Thank you for having me at the news today and allowing me to give my opinion about nuclear energy. So if we talk about ethical perspective, we could actually analyze 3 currents that support the idea of making this investment. The first one will be the utilitarian philosophy, that is telling us that the investment of nuclear energy will actually be more beneficial and have a greater impact in the quantity of citizens than investing in a new school or hospital in a small community. So, diverging some of the federal budget to do this investment could actually be an ethical action to do. And if we talk about social ethics, if we are actually considering the other countries in the world like part of our community, and everybody is making the investment of nuclear energy because it's safer and has a cleaner impact to the environment, we should also be on board on this idea. I think that we also have to do some investment in other kind of sources of energy, but nuclear energy could be the first step to a more cleaner and safer environment for Mexico. And the last one could be actually environmental ethics, that is always supporting the action to be an ethical action. If this one is for the benefit of all living or non-living things in an ecosystem, So again, if nuclear energy has a more cleaner impact to the environment and actually reduce in a serious quantity the CO2 emissions that fossil fuels do today, I think all the 3 reasons or all the 3 currents of ethics support the idea of making this investment. That is my conclusion, that is my opinion. Thank you for having me today, and I hope everybody have a nice day.
I want to thank each and every expert for the information they provided us with. In conclusion, based on the opinion of every expert on terms of people security, we can say that this problem could be mitigated into an extent of making possible the investment of nuclear plants in Mexico. One of the most interesting discussions was the ethical view, where the ethical expert concluded that even in this matter, the decision of a nuclear plant investment could be the moral action to undergo in this scenario. Thank you so much for sticking with us through this program. We'll be back soon.